Tonight, the eyes of the American soccer world are on Statesboro, Georgia. South Georgia Tormenta has taken USL League One by storm in their first playoff appearance. While on the other side, the Chattanooga Red Wolves will try to play spoiler after two dramatic victories. It's a small town on the big stage. The USL League One final is next. The day has finally arrived. It is the USL League One final from Statesboro, Georgia, and Optum Sports Medicine Field at Tormenta Stadium. South Georgia Tormenta FC plays host to the Chattanooga Red Wolves. And what a playoffs it has been so far as the fans file into Tormenta Stadium. But to get to this game today, it was a 1-0 win for Chattanooga last week against the regular season champions in the Richmond Kickers. As for Tormenta, they got by Greenville triumph by 1-0 as well. And with that, we welcome you into the broadcast booth with Devin Kerr. I'm Josh Eastern, and Devin, this season in USL League One has been just as crazy as the rest, but the 3 and the 4 seed have made the final, and not the 1 and the 2 seed like in previous years.
But why? That's what I want to talk to everybody about. We're going to show you exactly why the 3 and 4 are here instead of the top guys, and there's a reason for that. Number one, it's points. It's goals conceded, it's their record overall. This is all since the beginning of August. These two teams have been better than everybody else. And when you look at the run-in, all coaches look at KPIs, key performance indicators. Some of that is on the field stuff. Entries into the final third, possession battles, the quality of chances created. But these are the numbers at the end of the day that matter most. But I want to take it a step further. I want to look at two key individuals and go ahead of the curve. We're going to start with Keziah Sterling for South Georgia Tormenta. There are 3 key factors for this striker overall. We know he's got the pedigree, but I love his timing when he moves into the final third. So good at dragging runners out and then pushing the tempo onto the back line. Watch the head swivel. Checks immediately off the center back, slides in between the outside back, and he goes to work. That's a great goal. But the second one is even more impressive. Dropping deep down into the pocket. You drag a runner with you, but now you have to create space of your own. Look at the positional awareness. Over his left, behind the shoulder, he knows exactly where to attack once he receives it as he picks out this goal in the bottom corner against Charlotte. And then last but not least, we're going to go old school. Brute force and strength. 2v1. I'm just going to outrun, outmatch, and outclass you to get to the goal. Simple enough. 3 different ways. Same result for Keziah Sterling in the 9th spot for South Georgia Tormenta. Let's look at the other side of the ball. Jose Carrera, different role, deep-lying midfielder player for Chattanooga Red Wolves. So how does he do it? Distribution, number 1, Josh. Great from set pieces. 8 assists on the year, 5 from dead ball situations such as this. Can ping it from anywhere, but then there's a different look as well. Watch the footwork. Similar to Sterling, but the attacker comes forward. He's not used to this position, and yet in the unnatural location on the field, makes himself at home. Quick little peek over bottom corner, and then this is the work that's not going to show up on any statistical category or sheet that you're given. He understands the play has broken down. Teammate has turned him over, and yet he's got the discipline defensively to hold the play up, allow support to come, and then go win the 50-50 ball. He is all over the pitch, a match made in heaven for the Chattanooga Red Wolves in their 4-2-3-1 system.
Well, we are in a beautiful new stadium tonight, and for more on that, let's send it down to the field and Marion Crowder.
Okay, year 4 of USL League One action saw the tightest the table has ever been, and as talent continues to grow throughout this league, teams are looking to take every advantage, including through the pitch itself. Now, these two clubs are the first clubs with soccer-specific stadiums, starting with the home of the Chattanooga Red Wolves, CHI Memorial Stadium. It opened in August of 2020 and has a planned finished seating capacity of 5,500. Meanwhile, tonight's USL League One final marks just the 4th ever match played at Optum Sports Medicine Field at Tormenta Stadium. I got to speak with Tormenta FC captain Gabriel Cabral. He told me having a place to call your home is so special. We have our own banners here. We have the lights directly over us, and we are seeing the game from a different angle. And guys, just to pinpoint how important home field advantage is in this specific series history, the previous 5 meetings, the home team has won, and in a USL League One final, the home team has yet to lose.
Thanks so much, Marion. Well, we are building you up to first kick from Statesboro, Georgia. It's time to crown a champion in USL League One final. Tormenta, Chattanooga, the USL League One final is coming up next. Getting set for first kick. Time to take a look at tonight's starting lineups. We'll start with Ian Cameron and South Georgia Tormenta. No changes.
No, preferred back four for Ian Cameron. You will see the outside back go, but they don't necessarily go with two at a time because you've got so much pace as you move forward. What I want to see is how much can you get into Bill Hart here, because Gabriel Cabal will come high. Toby Otieno will duck underneath, but everything moves into the 9, and Keziah Sterling, of course, a great center back, and then one of the originals in Josh Phelps on the back line for the Australian. The Red Wolves, they do make a change because of the red card to their 9. Alex Tejera steps in up top, Espana underneath, Mo Espinoza and Ray Ortiz. Love how they attack to the inside because you will get the double runs from both outside backs. Villalobos will come high within it. Carrera, as we told you, is the mainstay to lock down the central locations for Jimmy Weekly.
What a great atmosphere it is here tonight at Tormenta Stadium. There is the whistle. The 2022 USL League One final is underway. And in USL League One, we will crown a new champion. Tormenta and Chattanooga making their debut in the USL League One final. Already some pressure there from Josue Espana on TJ Bush in goal. But we showed you the path for both of these two teams. Of course, it was some tight 1-0 wins, but this is the first time that a team will have to win 3 games in order to capture the crown. Of course, in 2019, it was just the semifinals and the final. North Texas was the winner then. 2020, the final was canceled and Greenville Triumph was given the title. Of course, last year, it was Union Omaha taking down Greenville Triumph by 3-0. So we get a new champion this year, and this is already played down that far left side. Here comes Tormenta trying to start things off with a bang. Otieno takes it on and just wide. Aviles was rooted to his spot, and nearly an incredible start for the home side.
Inside out movements, beautiful here. The way that they're able to possess in this situation, watch the head up the entire way. Great patience because he knows that the run on the inside is already closed down. Good look at Adrian Billard as he advances himself. It's closed off the path for he and Sterling. Otieno able to clean up from the rear and almost picks out that bottom corner.
A misplayed pass there. Looking for Curtis Thorne, the outside back for Tormenta. We talked to Ian Cameron this week, and he said about the game against Greenville last week, really up until that 60th minute, they were strong. There really wasn't much in it. Sterling had already scored that goal, but once Greenville made a few changes, it was more of, let's hold what we have. And I think part of it, he said, was they had never been to a final, and that's a stepping stone. It's something Chattanooga talked about as well, losing in the semis last year to Greenville. Just getting to a final is a big occasion, but now since both these teams are here, they want to win it.
I would also say it was a real testament to Ian Cameron's character when I asked him about the disposition of the team overall and how playing-wise they've tweaked themselves a little bit more rigid, not necessarily willing to explore as often. And he said, yeah, I would agree with you overall, but I would also go on to say that in the final 30 minutes of that match, anybody on a lead trying to chase a dream is going to tense up a little bit. But I thought that our character shone true. We were bright, and we were able to obviously efficiently close out the game. You got to give him credit because he has built a very impressive squad here. 25, 26, and 15 in 2 seasons at the helm. And he feels like every single time they step onto the pitch, they're only getting stronger.
He's, of course, been with Tormenta since 2019. He was the head man of Tormenta 2, and actually go back to the Open Cup that year. His team beat the Chattanooga Red Wolves by 3-0. And it was Adrian Billhart that actually scored a goal in that game as well. Quick restart there after the whistle. The referee not quite having it. Elvis Osmanovic gets the whistle tonight.
Little how do you do early on. How's the skip up off the deck, by the way? That's unfortunate for Josh Phelps trying to find the feet. There is the check down in that we were asking for. And Sterling, he's got a great understanding that when he is going to come, ball into his feet, excellent a hold-up play. My question is going to be can you get the run in behind? Mukwele Akale had already started the transition back through. Of course, the foul prohibited them from getting there.
It's a long switch of play. Villalobos was tracking back there for Chattanooga. And that pressure able to win it back high up the field. You can see the Chattanooga supporters there on the far side. This crowd is revved up for this one. It's exactly what you want in a final. Of course, this stadium, as Marion was mentioning, opening just at the beginning of October. It was a 1-1 draw in that game against the Richmond Kickers. Fuad Daney scored the first goal here at this new grounds. Nearly slipped through for Sterling. It's just the 4th game they have played here, Tormenta. But one of those games against Chattanooga, a 2-0 win on the last day of the regular season. Now it's Thorne. Into the corner, gets the cross away. Options waiting in the middle. It was Mel up to greet that. It's nodded clear. Dengler, good positive pass to find the space down the left. Cross coming in, looking for that back post. Headed back centrally, looking for Sterling. He comes up with it. And now Navarro scoops this away. Contact there. Which way will the whistle go? It's a free kick to Tormenta.
Time to settle from the sideline if you're Jimmy Weekly. This is very aggressive to start for the home squad, rightfully so, but his boys got to settle down here because they are withstanding some of the pressure, but this is too cute. Need to be cleaner than that, be smart in this situation. 7-yard flick up over the top. Tricks are for kids at this point in time in the game. Be direct, reset your lines, go long, push your unit out, and then you can start to have a little fun. But the start of this game, just a couple of minutes in, no reason for play like that.
Now Carlos Aviles has to organize his back line here on the set piece. Who is this going to be? Akale standing around it. It will be clipped in. Trying to find that centering header, and it's thumped away by Ray Ortiz. We mentioned the path to the final for Tormenta, or pardon me, for Chattanooga last week. The 1-0 win over the Richmond Kickers. It was a game in which they went down to 10 men very early on in that game in the 39th minute. They really had to battle through that one, and they're getting all they can handle here in the opening few minutes in this final. Jimmy Weekly was talking about just having to get to halftime in that one, as now Ajay wins this back for Tormenta. Almost ran through for Sterling. And Lombardi can settle here on this near side. One thing Jimmy Weekly said that he was very happy about was how positive his players were at halftime. Said he was talking with his assistants before he went in to meet the team, and they were all talking very positively. They were upbeat, even though they were down to 10 men against the regular season champions. They felt like they were in a really good position, and since he has stepped in, Jimmy Weekly, for Jimmy Obleda, who's away from the team, of course, 8-3-5. This team has been brought to a new level. 16 games overall. Remember, then that 8-3-5, they started under him the first 7 games unbeaten. So success has certainly been driven into this team. They had already assembled a nice core, and it's just a different look under Jimmy Weekly. But the positive nature that you talked about has become quite contagious, and it really says something about the individuals and then the collective that you go down, Josh, and then in the dressing room, as he steps away, you're still hearing these guys promoting from within. We can still go do this. We can go and nip off one of the best teams in the entire league, and that belief has carried them on to the final. But it's something that didn't just start last game. A real testament to what they've been able to do overall. If you watch them, it's fielded onto the run of play because there's the confidence, the way that they knock the ball around. It's slow at times, it's quick in transition. Two very different styles between the two. I mentioned how Tormenta sits a little bit deeper now. They absorb and then go the other direction.
Red Wolves want the ball the entire time. They want to make you feel uncomfortable and unbalance you any which way that they can.
To add on to that, Jimmy Weekly said the experiences they've gone through this year made them comfortable in that situation last week. Going down to 10 men, it's something that has happened a lot in USL League One this year. There's been a ton of red cards, it seems, but teams have been able to battle through, and even teams that have gone down to 10 men have found a decent amount of success. This is played down the right side now as Chattanooga looks into the attack. Phelps is up to meet that one. Maybe a chance to run upfield here for Tormenta. Challenge put in, Carrera just got it right. The heartbeat of that midfield, really the heartbeat of this team. They'll play a big part if they are able to raise a trophy at the end of the night. Espinosa gets end line and fires the cross in. Nobody there in a white shirt on the far side. Ortiz making the run in behind. Cross fizzled in, and again, Espinosa wasn't crashing in, and this will run all the way out of play.
How's the step, by the way, from Jose Carrera? In case you missed it in the open, we highlighted one of these attributes from him because he's so good at understanding when and where he needs to make this tackle. How's the timing? Beautifully done. Notice he doesn't spring into it right away. He holds serve in the middle of the field so the ball can't come direct down the middle. He also doesn't want the ball to come to the outside because he's not going to win the foot race against Akali. So he catches the player in the gray area. The second the ball steps away from the body, great job winning that challenge.
Player who has spent time in the USL Championship with Las Vegas Lights, and we were talking to him this week. He's played under a lot of really top quality managers, Eric Winalda, Frank Yallop, and he says that's really formed him into the player he is today. He also spent some time in Mexico with Celaya and says that's where he really learned how to play that position.
He mentioned his coach all the way back in college, Coach Graham's at Cal Golden Bears, going back a couple of years, of course, but this is a guy who, any level that he's been at, you talk to his managers, they know that he's got the capability. Health, number one, is an important factor, but also repetitions. And you mentioned his time in the championship. It was difficult that COVID year, as it was for anybody. But for Carrera, he was stuck in between two different, Eric Ronaldo's in there. And then as you transition from one to the other, different philosophies, different ideas, and it's hard for a player to gain momentum with a new manager. And when you don't have that, Josh, all of a sudden, the consistency of the repetitions overall start to get pushed by the wayside. Your confidence lacks, your overall game's not as good. And that's as simple as that. You don't play enough, you're not gonna play very well.
Here's Thorne. Shoulder to shoulder with Tejera, who has stepped in for David Teixeira, who was the one given the red card last week. Tejera was the one that came in off the bench, as Jimmy Weekly put it. They just had to settle into a 4-4-1, look to counter. That's exactly what they did. Espinosa has really enjoyed a good season this year. Another whistle. And the referee, a slow walk over. Might this be the game's first yellow card? That's exactly what it will be. It's Josue Espana into the book for Chattanooga.
Well, this was an interesting little sequence. Not necessarily sure that I agree with this. My question is, watch the touch on the ball. The argument is that he's brandishing his studs, when I don't see a tackle at all. Now, subjectivity is everything here, Josh, because from the referee's viewpoint, he sees the foot by Josue Espana come up and lead with the studs, but he's not trying to tackle. He actually gets the first positive touch on the ball. The problem is the foot is leading up into the player itself. So while I don't agree with the referee's decision, I can understand it.
Espana was the one that came off last week for Tejera to come onto the field. He's been a regular starter in his second season with the Red Wolves. It seems Tormenta has slowed down a bit from what they were doing in the opening few minutes, and that was putting a lot of pressure on this Chattanooga back line. Kale put the challenge in. Thorne there to collect it again for Tormenta. Touched away from behind Lombardi, and now Espinosa for Chattanooga. In space to work in the middle, Villalobos. He was the one that had the assist on the Rafa Mensingen goal last week. I don't know, what a stunner that was for the Red Wolves. Really stunning that crowd at City Stadium. A team that had the MVP, Golden Boot winner, lead assist man, coach of the year. You go down the list. What a season it was for Richmond. Chattanooga went in there down a man for 50 minutes and stole away the victory. Second ball is picked up. Tejera moves it out wide. Here's Ray Ortiz. Man down behind the play. Ortiz gets end line. This one deflected away. Now a chance for Tormenta to move back the other way. Cutting it infield. Advantage being played. Here's Otieno. Keeps it moving for Thorne. Sterling through the middle. Here's the cross. Sterling, one touch to settle. Goes down. Referee says no. Big appeal for penalty. And now a whistle will stop play. And a player is down on the far side. That was the advantage that was being played.
There's a couple, actually. I make the argument on the first one down in the corner for Red Wolves on the right flank that after that pressure was sustained, you came the other way. That's a card for me. I understand it's a first infraction, but the opportunity to counter and come the other direction in the open field of play, I still don't see it there, right? It's from behind. He reaches out, Timmy Mel, for sure, but there's not a ton of contact. It's more so the leg comes up and he starts to feel the pressure and then leans into it forward to simulate.
Now, I do think that's a good piece of refereeing there from Elvis Osmanovic. Let the play go on. If you want to brandish a card after the sequence is over, go and do it. It doesn't look like he has here for Jose Carrera, as Ajay has to pick himself up off the turf. But the advantage was on, I'm saying, for Tormenta.
No, I agree with that. I would say that, again, go back to the initial infraction, that there was a foul there, too. But you counteract it. They were on the move.
Yeah.
So even if you don't call that one, ball comes back across, all of a sudden now it's open play. You're not going to stop it in that situation.
So just to confirm, no card given. Only the early one to Josue Espana. As you mentioned, this Chattanooga side, there are no strangers to yellow cards. And Elvis Osmanovic has had his hands full here in the opening 17 minutes.
Think about the fact that they average almost 16 fouls a game. 495 fouls through 32 matches, second most in League One. Same argument for yellow cards. Of course, if you're going to get stuck in, you might as well make it worth your while, right? At least write my name down and be polite. That little black book of yours.
Off of Carrera. Mel was there to collect. Now Lombardi. Trying to win the second ball. Didn't quite come off. Gabriel Cabral stepped in for Tormenta. And another whistle, but this will go the way of the Red Wolves. physical start to this one. I'm being told Ian Cameron has been warned as well. But you look at the series between these two teams, it is very tight. 4-4-2 between the two since these teams started playing each other in 2019. And at least one team has scored multiple goals in 8 of the 10 matchups all time. So I feel like we're in for some goals tonight. Who knows if that'll take 90 or 120.
Want to find goals, you got to find a way to get Alex Tejera going. They haven't been able to play into him at all. That's only his 5th touch of the game through 20 minutes, and 3 of them have been sprayed in the wrong direction. As you come up over the top, the support is there. Game's just off a little bit. Keep feeding him though. Find the confidence, because right there, right through the middle, this seems to be an area so far that they are willing to attack. We've seen success so far on the outside with Ajay and Akali, but with Gabriel Cabral coming deeper and deeper to help on the reception process, Toby Otieno has started to feel more comfortable in the advanced role. And that's something that, you know, I alluded to it earlier, Josh. I said this to Ian Cameron, that is it fair to say that as your season has gone on, you guys have become more comfortable in your skin, but you've also sat back a little bit. There's not as much rotation. You're not attacking as much in certain locations, and have sort of resided yourself to sustaining more pressure, being more direct, and then play in the other direction. He said, absolutely. It almost felt like when he said it, there was a little coy smile behind it if we were in person, right? Like, just wait to see what's coming. And there is a good balance within the midfield pairing right now of Otieno and Cabral, making sure that they're going back and forth with each other, challenging the shape next to Villalobos and Carrera in the midfield for Red Wolves.
Looking for options here. Sterling, the man making the run. Keziah Sterling! Aviles came off his line and did enough to force a goal kick. Just good hard play between those two.
This is all about the goalkeeper, because it's a decent ball up over the top, absolutely. There's the runs that we were talking about for Sterling. Just mentioned Otieno, but on the misplay by Navarro, doesn't time it right. Make yourself big. Aviles almost gets caught between a rock and a hard place. Does he continue the run coming forward, or does he stop dead in his tracks? He sort of pauses in between. Pulls himself up, smartly done by the way, because he does not want to make contact with the runner. Sterling hears the footsteps and pushes it aside.
Win the ultimate World Cup viewing experience with the Hisense Playoff Sweepstakes, a grand prize of a Hisense 120-inch laser TV and a $500 gift card. The Hisense Playoff Sweepstakes will run until November 13th at midnight Eastern. Scan the QR code for your chance to win. Here comes Tormenta into the attack again. Sterling, Cabral, still an option there with Ajay on the far side. He couldn't bring it in, and out for another goal kick. What a great crew of Chattanooga fans that have made the trip from Tennessee. You're being told a lot of family members also making the trip, young and old. Well, this is a really cool environment for so many of these players to play in. Many of them their first ever finals. And to play it in a venue such as this, with two teams that have been in the league since its inception. It was Tormenta that was the first club to join USL League One when they were announced on January 25th of 2018. They first officially launched at the time a PDL or USL League 2 team in 2015. So these two teams have been in it from the very beginning. As Hispania comes in, looping ball in, headed down, chance to get a shot away, and saved by Bush. Just waiting for that to drop ever so slowly, it felt.
Before the run, was about to talk about the fact that we haven't really seen anything down the middle for Chattanooga Red Wolves in terms of the attacking presence. But as the ball sprays back out here, it's difficult. It's difficult because Mo Espinoza recognizes on the back post that the only way that they're going to get something out of this is if he's going to be unselfish. And as he comes back to the penalty mark, you'd like that one back because there's plenty of space and time, and instead it's right at the goalkeeper. Got to pick out the bottom corner there.
Ortiz trying to line that one up, and he wasn't too far away. from distance at that.
One of my favorite things about this team is their willingness to make you uncomfortable in unnatural positions, because Espinoza and Ortiz are so understanding of the system and their ability to cut back to the inside. They know Ray Ortiz comes back to the middle. He knows that DJ Benton can be in that overlapping run, or that Espana is going to pinch down into the corner. Great at vacating the space once someone leaves it, but the understanding and the willingness to attack to the interior almost pays off.
There you look at TJ Bush, 25-year-old, spent last year with Charlotte Independence, but if you'd watched Tormenta in the previous 3 years, the #1 goalkeeper was Pablo Jara. He's made 90 USL League One appearances, is up at the top of the appearances leaderboard in USL League One, but about midway through the season, TJ Bush was given that job, and he has taken it and he has run with it, and they have been great since he has stepped in. Pablo Jara, you know, he's waiting in the wings. It's two very quality goalkeepers, but Bush has just stepped in and he's been too good to take out. Sean Nemhard now for Tormenta. Gonna play this in behind Ajay. And going to ground was Timmy Mel. Benton got caught, but it's a throw into the Red Wolves. And to finish up that point from a few minutes ago about this Tormenta team, the first team announced into the league. They were officially launched in 2015, but co-owner and president Darren Van Tassel said this week, "Not sure our dreams went so far that we would host a final inside of 7 years. We're the smallest market in North America playing pro soccer." And that just goes to show you how much this community means to this team. It's not so much just about the players on the field. It's about the people behind the scenes at this club. It's about the fans in the stands. It's about this community. They are so tightly tied to the people in this town of Statesboro.
How about his little joke about brainwashing some of the coaches around him to get some help? Yeah. the young coaches didn't know any better to be on staff and do a little bit more work than necessary.
They have promoted from within, of course. We mentioned Ian Cameron starting with Tormenta 2, making the jump here to the first team in League One. And we saw that, of course, with many of these players on the field as well. It was John Milleracey. He was the one that laid the foundation, the head man in the first couple of years. This cross comes in, Dengler deals with it. We're talking to Josh Phelps just about the first few years of this team and just how unlucky they were with injuries, whatever it was. They just could not get into the playoffs, but they get into the playoffs this year, and look what they've been able to do. 1-2 with Carrera. That shot fired out of play.
The space right here is a problem, though. What they're doing, and it is part of the DNA for Ian Cameron and Tormenta. It's the little pop out by Adrian Billhart on the inside. When he pops out of the 10 and comes up on the shoulder from Keziah Sterling, it leaves this space down in the midfield, and that's allowing Villalobos and Jose Carrera get on the ball and start to dance around. It's either one that's starting to drop in. When you do go that direction and your press is bypassed, you have to immediately retreat because they come outside, they come back in. The problem is no one from Tormenta is stepping in there, Josh. So you've got to find a way to remove that initial ball to the inside because that's what they feed off of. That allows them to dictate. They want to go left, right, direct up over the top. Opening 10, 15 minutes, that was great in terms of South Georgia Tormenta and locking that space down, but they've moved away from it. Just better communication, better rotation on that initial line of confrontation up top.
Sterling driving at this back line. Puts the brakes on and finds Adrian Billhart, comeback player of the year in USL League One. And what a year it's been for him. 5 goals, 5 assists. It's a career high 5 goals as well. For Sterling, cleared away again. Cabral stepped in, but couldn't keep it.
Lombardi. Hands it off for Espinosa. You mentioned that Chattanooga, they like to be on the ball. Second most average possession in the league at 53%.
Yeah, this you can deal with. You know, I just mentioned that space right there. Here comes Villalobos right underneath. You check with him. Even if he gains possession, all you want to do is keep it in front of you. The concern I have is when that ball comes in, immediately comes out, you find unbalance, and now you've got uneven numbers if that initial run comes quicker. You're 3v2, you're 2v1. You're just looking for a way to have the man advantage. This movement right here doesn't bother you.
Carrera, a crucial header in there by Dengler. And it might spring Tormenta free, but Bill Hart slows it down for the moment. There's Otieno. Just off the mark, it's turned over. Espana now. Sliding challenge by Cabral. Dengler there defensively to cut it out. That ball stays in play. Long ball over the top. Akale making the run. Being pestered there by Lombardi. It's turned over. Cabral. Centering feed. It's Bill Hart who keeps it moving. Ajay just lost his balance. That did him in as Aviles gets it away. Cross comes in, looking for Sterling. It's Espinosa. He's bodied off the ball by Thorne. Tormenta can reset.
There's one thing very clear. Any balls up over the top are almost impossible to be won by Tormenta. Timmy Mel and Daniel Navarro just plucking everything out of the sky. And the ground's a different story. That far right flank, they got a little problem right now. DJ Benton having a little trouble, not because of his incapability of marking. He's mismatched a lot in 2v1 situations with a lot of open space, Josh. So as he commits to the outside, there's about a 7 to 8 yard gap just off the shoulder of Timmy Mel, where Otieno has found a little success. Adrian Billhart's been comfortable there too. You advance yourself up. Right now, that's the run to make. You peel off, that's great, and then watch just inside of Timmy Mel, wide open.
Here they come again. Cross comes in for Akale. Is this a penalty? It is! You could see Akale flying in. And this will be a yellow card as well for Espinosa. And an early inflection point in this final.
There's a ton of contact. We were just talking about Bill Hart. He actually makes the initial move here, but right there on the back shoulder. How much is there in it really? That look makes to be sold a little bit more than what we saw in the open play infraction, but the cut in by Akale, it is a great one. Espinosa doesn't agree with it. The problem is you've still given the referee something to think about. The fact that real time it looks that way, and on slow-mo we're actually discussing it, can give you an idea of how close it is. It's in the box, it's moving towards the ball. Many a referee would not step in here, but you can't fault him for pointing to the spot.
And a yellow card was also given to Ray Ortiz during that sequence. Josiah Sterling looks like he will be the one to step to the spot. He is 5 for 5 this year from the penalty spot. And he also scored one just a few weeks ago in the quarterfinal win against the Charlotte Independents right here on this field. Aviles taking his time to get into the goal. The mind games between kicker and goalkeeper.
Well, he's done his homework too. Sterling's been all over the place, but recently against Charlotte, obviously earlier this season, loved the low right placement in the bottom corner. Goalkeeper's left. Seen a couple of those. Does he veer away from that? Or within the mind games that you're referencing, do you start to go the other direction? Familiarity can be your biggest friend in these moments.
Chattanooga taking its time. Aviles against Sterling. Sterling strides up, slows down, and scores! He's been the man for the moment in these USL League One playoffs, and he gives Tormenta an early lead in this final.
Let's take you back first. Let's go to the foul. Back post run, watch the contact. Espinoza coming in, just undercuts him a little bit, and it's certainly enough for the contact. I said coming in, familiarity can be your biggest friend, but this is the problem. You get in the mind of a goalkeeper, he's done the same homework we all have. He knows the tendency is to the goalkeeper's left bottom corner, to the player's right. Sticks true to himself, feels like he's seen enough video to make an educated guess, but that is 100% incorrect. His 17th on the season and the lead.
And that is a league record 4th USL League One playoff goal for Keziah Sterling. He has scored every goal in the playoffs for Tormenta. Scored 2 in the quarterfinal against Charlotte, 1 from the spot, scored last week against Greenville. And now what's the response going to be from Chattanooga as they trail by 1-0 just before halftime? And a similar point in the game in which they lost a player due to a red card last week against Richmond. And they keep that same positivity that they had. This cross comes in, too tall for Tahara. As the smoke engulfing the field here at Tormenta Stadium. Tormenta, when they can score that first goal, they've only been beaten 3 times. Of course, it's difficult to come back from a losing position, but 4 wins. They've done it before, Chattanooga. Can they do it again? They are just 1-6, Chattanooga, when they concede the opening goal away from home. Set piece coming, but what Keziah Sterling continues to do, now 4 goals. Evan Conway scored 3 goals last year for Omaha. Once again, he scored 2 in these playoffs. Ricardo Pepe, remember him?
Heard of him. Kind of good.
He might be. Ray Ortiz on the set piece, cleared away immediately. And it's every single year so far in USL League One. You look at the winning teams and even some of the teams that haven't been able to win, but the progression of this league and moving into higher divisions, whether it be the USL Championship, whether it be a Ricardo Pepi, and he moves to Europe eventually after time with FC Dallas. Eventually, the whistle will come with the foul on the far side. Ray Ortiz brought down, and this will be a yellow card, the first to Tormenta. It's Ajay who has his name taken.
Just watch the flying arm here on the little push-off out. It comes high, makes a mountain out of a molehill, but the arm's still up there. Again, some of these decisions, I go back to the same verbiage I used, is I can understand them. That doesn't mean I have to agree with them, right? It's kind of like the penalty. Don't put yourself in that situation. There's enough contact. Not in my book am I going to call it, but all of a sudden, you give the referee a reason to think about it, you know you've put yourself in a bad spot, and that's where all these things are popping up right now for both of these squads. Players coming around you, step in front of them. Don't put your arm out in front of them. That's really simple stuff. Don't be lazy. Allow your body to trust itself and just continue the run in front of the attacker instead of getting a little bit lazy, putting that arm out and getting yourself into trouble.
It's Espinosa ready to serve this in. Good depth on it. Bush commanding his box well. Dengler dumps it away. As this is out of play, give us another chance to tell you that you can win the ultimate World Cup viewing experience with the Hisense Playoff Sweepstakes. A grand prize of a Hisense 120-inch laser TV and $500 gift card. The Hisense Playoff Sweepstakes will run until November 13th at midnight Eastern. Scan the QR code for your chance to win. Nice touch there by Espinosa. Runs out of play, throwing it Tormenta. As we close in on halftime, Isaiah Sterling's penalty so far the difference. Chattanooga has waited to score some goals in these playoffs. You have to go all the way in extra time for the playoff, or for the goal in the first playoff game against Union Omaha last week. Deep into regulation as well. Will they have a response here tonight? Akale, great touch, turns the corner, centering feed for Sterling, and it was just intercepted. That ball did go out of play, but what a sequence that was.
Wish we could show them our faces right now. How's your touch? Dear Lord, coming up over the top, Akale. Great job. You move left to right, all of a sudden you got a little bit of space, but how's the touch? Woo. Just a walk in the park, literally. Almost wanted him to finish this thing off solo, but I can totally understand bringing it on the diagonal, trying to come back to the penalty mark. That is some brilliant football down into the corner in a one-on-one. What they're doing, though, this is why you're starting to see another surge from Tormenta, is they're pushing Akale and Ajay really high, and basically they put all the emphasis on Otieno and Cabral in the midfield, so it's almost 4-2-4 when they move in transition. Flatten out the lines defensively. I still want to see a little bit more of this cutoff from Billhart. Come back in, drop in 3 or 4 yards. Now you take the entire midfield out of play. You've basically made Red Wolves resort to the outside of the field, but the reason they're still able to connect right now is they're finding that little five-yard pass, start to go the other direction. You slide over, you're a little bit more aggressive within the front two, and you take that away as well.
Carrera. All the way into that corner. Challenge put in. This runs over the end line, and it's a corner kick coming for the Red Wolves. Nemhard, I don't think he agrees.
I'm a little surprised with as handsy as Nemhard was, but the referee didn't blow the whistle in this situation. Watch the touch around him. Right there. Coming off the right side. Some interesting decisions, we'll say, in the first half. Is that the right way to say it?
Well, if you're not going to blow the foul, at least give the corner kick, right?
Yeah, 2 wrongs don't make a right. You're going to be a great ref when you grow up.
I've actually gone through my whole testing,
scary.
so
Sunday
careful.
League, right?
Yeah.
Only Sunday League?
Only.
The Pub League.
The in-swinger bouncing through. Sterling was there to head it away. On the turn, Benton got something on it. Benton keeps it alive. Looking for an option out wide. That's Espinosa. Eventually, flag waves on the far side. Free kick back the other way. A new champion will be crowned when the dramatic 2022 season comes to an end. Catch the USL Championship Final Sunday, November 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, ESPN Deportes, and Sirius XM. You know Louisville City will be there, and the Western Conference Final gets going in just a few minutes' time. San Antonio against Colorado Springs Switchbacks. That game available on ESPN+. Ortiz muscled off the ball.
Oh, that's watch card. Easy. How quick?
And it's going to be a yellow card to Curtis Thorne.
Given the way that the game has gone, I'm not surprised by it, but this could be grounds for dismissal. Watch the studs. You break someone's ankle like that. This is very close. The lack of contact is probably why, not that I agree with it, but probably why the referee doesn't send him packing. Gotta be really careful here if you're Curtis Thorne.
Well, that was the challenge, or a similar challenge as to why Teixeira was given a red card last week against Richmond for a studs challenge up towards the high shin or knee area.
You'll break someone's ankle like that. I'm not kidding. I mean, you leave your feet, that's a full force of a person's body coming at you, studs up the entire way right on that lower ankle area. Very fortunate to come out unscathed.
It's 3 minutes of stoppage time added on at the end of this first half. They're way back in this first half for the Red Wolves, getting a halftime level. The referee just delaying this restart for a moment. I think referee talking to both captains here, Carrera and Cabral. Safe to say the challenges have been flying.
Yeah.
All the intensity you'd want in a final. The first time both these teams have reached this stage. Carrera floating this ball in, on and long and in! The equalizer for Chattanooga, Alex Teixeira. Just before halftime, we're back at square one.
You look at the team sheet overall, and you look at the scout, and you think Galindres, Espinosa from the outside, Menzigan, whether on the bench or in the run of play. But at the 9 spot, it's been an interesting travel recently. Teixeira been the guy, card out, Teixeira gets the nod, literally and figuratively. Into the 11, into the bottom corner, into final record books on the equalizer, and back into this game. Had 4 touches through 20 minutes. Said if you wanted to have success, you got to get him going. How's the response?
Well, for Alex Teixeira, a player who was signed after a trial with the club, this is just his 13th appearance with the Red Wolves this season. And when we were talking to Jimmy Weekly this week, and he said, when we talked to him on Friday, still wasn't sure who was going to start at that 9 spot. Was it going to be Galindrez? Was it going to be Tejera? Goes with Tejera. He gets his 3rd goal this year, his first since the 10th of September in the 5-2 win over Forward Madison. And TJ Bush is down and having to pick himself up off the turf. Not a good sign here for Tormenta just before halftime. And a twist to the tail in this final.
Don't mind the celebration on the backside either. They certainly have brought their A game when it comes to goal celebrations. You get another look at TJ Bush, who's he's struggling right now. Came over that left shoulder, trying to get to the far post. Beautiful header. It's one of those ones that hit to the back post. Let your big guys go up and get it. Who wants it more? Who's going to go win this for me? And Tejera answers all that. 6'2" and plus. Wondrous finish for a guy that has struggled in the first half, whether through his own fruition or trying to get in the run of play from his teammates. They haven't been able to find him. They'll find him now.
Now, who knows how much time is left in this first half. There were 3 minutes given. The free kick wasn't taken until about 90 seconds past that. We'll play until we hear a whistle.
Guess who, by the way? Didn't even give a nod there. Carrera, 9th on the season.
Oh, of course.
6th from dead ball situations. I mean, the guy is just relentless at his work rate in the midfield. We already showed you the tackles. His ability to spray this thing left and right, and now all of a sudden, you gift the Wizard an opportunity from 45 yards out. Cast a spell all over you. What a response by Chattanooga Red Bulls just before halftime. Exactly what they needed from a Tormenta team that had been all over them in waves, yes. But the back and forth started to open up. We've seen some really good football. The midfield play between Carrera and Villalobos shine bright. And the dead ball from just under midfield to Tejera. His 3rd on the season. The 9 was the question mark. Don't think Weekly's going to be questioning anything going into the dressing room.
Now, what a first half of action that was. It was Keziah Sterling who, of course, scored the first goal of the night, as he has been a menace in these playoffs. And it was Alex Tejera, of course, who was the one to find the equalizer late on in that first half. And let's send it down to Marion Crowder, who is standing by with Keziah Sterling.
Keziah, send your team up 1-0 in the half, get the first goal of this game. Thoughts on your overall team performance?
I think so far we've done really well. We've applied pressure when we've needed to. We've been good on the ball. But it's just that that last set piece at the end where we slipped up on. But overall, I think we'd be really good and the more dominant team.
Yeah, transition game is working for you. I think the approach was working for you in the first half. What is going to be, though, the message in that locker room, knowing that you just gave up a late half equalizer?
Nothing changes, really. Just keep doing what we was doing. We was doing it well, and yeah, just keep what we're doing. Our game plan was working, and just make sure we trust it and stick at it.
Thanks, Keziah. Good luck. Boys?
Well, Keziah Sterling, a big goal, and this has been a fun first half from Statesboro, Georgia. Everything you'd want in a final. Halftime from Statesboro, Tormenta 1, Chattanooga 1. Halftime from Statesboro, Georgia. The Red Wolves and Tormenta going at it in this USL League One final. Well, of course, this league just 4 years old as we wrap up the 4th season. Let's take a look back on the history that has been made.
In 2017, the USL looked to expand its soccer infrastructure, adding a second tier of professional men's soccer to its pyramid. Now concluding its 4th season, the USL League One is already making an impact well beyond its years, having already produced talents such as current U.S. men's national team forward Ricardo Pepi and USL Championship MVP candidate Aaron Malloy. This league is just getting started. The 2022 season featured numerous memorable moments, from a 10-goal thriller between Tormenta FC and Greenville Triumph SC to the first ever goalie goal thanks to Omaha's Kevin Piedrahita. The on-field drama left fans wanting more. And more they got. In 4 seasons of play, a club has scored more than 5 goals in a match 11 times. 7 of those instances came this year, highlighting record-breaking seasons from players like Richmond's Jonathan Bolaños, who finished with 11 assists. The growth and influx of talent resulted in 11 players called into senior international duty over the calendar year, with those players representing 10 different countries. League One athletes continue to showcase their skills during the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, headlined by Union Omaha's improbable run to the quarterfinals. 6 League One sides defeated 9 championship or MLS clubs throughout the competition. The League One story is still being written and has already provided lots to celebrate and to be proud of. As the current chapter nears its close, we're already looking forward to what the future holds for this league and for the USL as a whole.
Halftime rolls on here from Statesboro. Time for our USL League One playoff update presented by Hisense. And our award winners this year, the Young Player of the Year, the 21-year-old, although he's been around the block, Ethan Bryan, a great season with Richmond.
It's a magnificent season. It's going pro at just 16 years of age with San Antonio FC back in 2018. He's been on a journey for the past couple of seasons, Josh, and whether he was in Belgium, back to San Antonio, loaned here initially last year. Great season, 3 goals and 5 assists for a guy that already has 60-plus appearances at the professional rank and still 21 years of age. A lot of future and bright promise for the young man. And how about Arthur Rogers? 9 assists, second in League One. Extremely impressive, most by a defender this season.
Of course, coming off his time with Hartford Athletic in the championship, the MVP, he's now done it 3 straight times. Emiliano Terzaghi just continues to score.
Cheat code? Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
You just institute a cheat code at the beginning of the season. You get Terzaghi and you get wins, you get goals, you get an MVP. Great season once again. Rashid Nuhu, back-to-back Golden Glove winner, 0.98 goals against. Fewest goals given up this year by Union Omaha. Great defensively. Unfortunately, their season fell just short in the playoffs. No 1-2, no Omaha, no Greenville. What world are we living in?
I don't know, but we're living in a world that has Louisville back in the USL Championship final. 1-0 win last night over Tampa Bay, and just seems like it's like clockwork with them.
Down to 10 men, didn't play well, and yet, from the biggest of surprises in Elijah Winder, what a journey he's been on. Broke his legs and his ankles, shattered at the start of the 2021 season. Everybody turns to Josh Winder. Elijah Winder gets the goal off the bench, the game winner to push them into the final. Next Sunday night, 8:30. But who's it going to be? Right now, we're about to hit kickoff for San Antonio FC and Colorado Springs Switchbacks. You hope, in theory, that game's going to be wide open and there will be goals in it. Great offense, best defense in the league. There can be only one.
It is going to be a fun one tonight. The playoff bracket presented by Hisense. The second half of this USL League One final, along with highlights and stats on the other side. First half highlights in this USL League One final. Tormenta and Chattanooga, 35th minute. This is when the game would change.
A little soft to my liking, but there is contact to Akale on the back post. Referee says 100%, 12 yards out. Sterling says bottom corner, thank you very much. 17th of the season,
South Georgia Tormenta up 1-0. It would take about 13 minutes, 45 plus 3. Unnecessary foul, yellow card, beautiful ball to the back post. Just put this thing up, let the big bodies go get it. Teixeira does. He gets the equalizer, third of the night, and that's where we stand after 45 minutes.
With Devin Kerr, I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us. Marion Crowder down on the field as we get this second half underway. 45 minutes away from potentially crowning a USL League One champion. Level at 1. Will we need 45 minutes more? And one sub to tell you about. He's been the man in these playoffs for Chattanooga. Rafa Mensigan has checked in. He has replaced Mo Espinosa, remember, was on that yellow card, and it's been a game with a lot of heavy challenges. You think probably smart from Jimmy Weekly just to take him out of the equation. And another set piece here for Chattanooga. Carrera, the in-swinger, flicked along. Nemhard there at the back post. And Mensigan will collect in the corner. Move this down the line for Ajay.
Beautiful. Well done playing out of the back under pressure. Very impressive by South Georgia Tormenta. Not only that, able to stretch it and get horizontally to the other side of the field.
Here's Cabral. Long switch of play. Quick 1-2 passing there on the far side. Thorne. Akale trying to turn it back. Now turns it in fields. No whistle there from the referee. Play on. Nemhard. This touched out of play. Throw in to Tormenta. Thorne, that one cut out. Carrera slid in. Ahead for Teixeira. Foot race there with Phelps. Shoulder to shoulder, play on. Here's Cabral, and Tormenta now will just slow things down. Plenty of time on the ball here. Pulling it out wide, it's Nemhard. Keeping this up and over the top, it's headed clear. Nemhard back centrally, Sterling lets it run through. A whistle will come for a handball. Let's hit it down to the field, and Marion Crowder.
Yeah, guys, spoke to head coach Jimmy Weekly, and other than that big change, Rafa coming in for Mo Espinosa, he feels like they're not really doing a great job when they're getting forward, not clearing that first center back, and especially not picking up the second balls at the top of the 18-yard box. He also feels like the movement in the midfield is somewhat stagnant. You can tell that Tormenta is really trying to take Carrera out of this game. He really wants a midfield player to get high, take that space when Carrera comes out wide to distract a Tormenta player.
That's what we were talking about in the first half, right? Deep, you come in, you get that initial ball in, and you hit the nail on the head. Marion's report with Jimmy Weekly. It's the advancement, though. Espana hasn't really provided you that glimpse. We've seen a lot of movement from the outside, cutting back in, but not really that attacking threat at the number 10 position overall. Villalobos is the one who recently has played that part. A little concerned with the way that the attack has come from Tormenta, though.
Sterling just slipped there on the ball. This deflects out of play. It's a goal kick.
You get rattled as well, Josh. You're so good for so long at the start of the game if you're Tormenta. Then things fade a little bit. Red Wolves start to get comfortable. They dance on it a little bit more, and then as you work your way back in, you almost just go with the flow. You forget exactly what the game plan is, and you carry with the momentum. So you overstep in certain areas that you'd like to slow the game down. You chase and go direct when maybe you need to be pinging it back and forth, side to side. These are the conversations that managers at halftime remind the players of what's been ingrained into them, because the moment can overtake you. You got to have someone to help keep you on track. That's why you have guys like Josh Phelps on the back line. Make sure that you're headed in the right direction. Carrera within the midfield. Such important pieces to the puzzle for both of these managers.
And Carrera trying to make his presence felt in this game. He did it on a set piece. Of course, the assist to Alex Tejera. Here he is now. Another throw-in. Menzigen trying to weave his way forward. Dengler does very well as he ushers it out for a goal kick. Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of USL League One. Choose what you play with at selectsportamerica.com. Select, League's choice, player's choice. Playing it right through the middle. España. Ortiz got himself in between the man and the ball and earned the free kick. It's Curtis Thorne, who, remember, is on a yellow card. Outside back for Tormenta, has to be careful.
And they get a little lucky here, too, because the movement should have been a 5-yard ball back to the right. There was no reason to take 5 separate touches and then continue it the other direction. Look at the options. Cut down. Very fortunate here for Ray Ortiz that as he gives it right back to Curtis Thorne, that the touch is away from the body. That allows Ortiz to reestablish his position in front of the defender. Once you feel a little bit of pressure there, Josh, easy enough to come up over top of the ball and be taken to ground.
Again, it's Carrera who stands over this. Again, lofting it in. Back post. He was up for it. He just couldn't meet it. Daniel Navarro. Good pressure from Menzigen. Dengler just goes over the top, looking for Sterling. Headed away once again. Chattanooga finding some success at the start of this second half. Menzigen. Foul against Carrera. We talked to Rafa Menzigen ahead of this final, as this is headed right through the middle. Here's Sterling! Just wide. It did take a deflection out of play. It's a corner kick. We mentioned those moments, the different ways that Sterling scores goals. You touched on in the open. That was just right through the middle.
We've seen them all, because you've seen the balls from the outside. You've seen him come deep down in, but this time you just go direct up over the top. And the vision that you have to know that he is going to get on the end of it. How far up could Bill Hart get? He's smart. Just flicks it right through, and then it's a foot race. How's the recovery, though? This is the slightest of touches on the backside in the recovery run from the Argentinian Aaron Lombardi to save the go-ahead goal.
Offed it all the way to the back post, headed back centrally and cleared away. Believe it or not, that was the first corner kick of the game for Tormenta. Chattanooga's only had one as well. There's Phelps. Akale. Tengler. Ajay trying to serve it through the middle. You just feel the intensity of this final. The crowd is on every touch, every foul. And there's another whistle. This time it's Tahara who gets caught.
Good job by Cabral to step in front of him. He knows the touch is too far away. I'm not necessarily sure that every single tackle needs to be a call for surgery. I mean, honestly, don't do the referee any favors here, boys. Pay attention to how the game's being called 56 minutes in. Why step in there and give our head referee any sort of reason to think twice about it?
Remember, this Tormenta team has played in some big games this year. They were a giant killer, if you will, in the US Open Cup, taking down Charleston Battery, Birmingham Legion, before they eventually lost by 3-1 to Inter Miami. But they played really well in that game against Inter Miami. As Phil Neville said after, maybe we didn't deserve to win that game. And in the end, it was just Miami being a little bit too clinical. They hung right with that MLS side. Long run down the left. This is touched out of play. Another throw and back the other way. And here comes Tormenta. Bill Hart leads the charge. Sterling trying to roll this across. Cabral got it caught on his feet. Allows the Red Wolves to come upfield now. Intercepted again. This game wide open at the moment. Here's Otieno lofting it forward, looking for Sterling. Mel, just a deft touch off his head.
Just keep an eye behind. Alex Tahara, he's limping. And the last two movements coming up the field for Chattanooga have not seen the 9 active whatsoever. He's been very slow trying to get involved in the run of play, although now he seems to have picked it up.
Just want to run all the way out. Here's Nemhard. Tahara again, coming together with Gabriel Cabral. Here's Otieno. Here's Bill Hart. Scoop forward. Akale trying to cut it back. Sterling. Chattanooga just trying to get this away. Shot comes on. Deflected down by Benton and cleared away. Sometimes you just got to thump it clear. Take no chances. And eventually that's what Chattanooga did. Every time Sterling gets the ball in the box, you can see how dangerous he can be. Another cross comes in, looking for Sterling. Second ball picked up by Otieno. That was right in front of the referee, and he says play on. Thorne. Here's Akale. Kwele Akale dancing on the ball. They switch the point of attack, but the second ball will be picked up. Sean Nemhard. Kingsford Ajay. Ajay fires it across, and it's cleared away. Nemhard keeps it alive again. Centering feed for Cabral. Long spell of possession in this attacking third for Tormenta. What can they make of it? Cabral, long rip, and long out of play. And there will be 2 substitutions coming. It will be Juan Galindrez and Ivan Gutierrez coming onto the field. The goal scorer, Alex Tejera, is the one who will be replaced. And of course, this is how Chattanooga got back level.
Just watch him on the back post. Got to fight the battles that you can, and he's matched up against Jake Denler, who has the height advantage, but that's just power. That's timing, getting up on the back shoulder of the center back and finding a way to get a slight touch and redirect it. And an interesting conversation with Jimmy Weekly coming in, talking about the 9 spot in Galindrez, saying that he's much better off the bench. If you look at the time that he scores his goals, statistically, they're later in the game. So why not, especially in a game where you're already in it, as opposed to trying to track out in front. Bring him off, let him chase the game a little bit, fresh legs. And yeah, 13 goals to his name doesn't sound too shabby either.
He's the all-time leading goal scorer in Chattanooga Red Wolves history with 24. I love this quote from Jimmy Weekly. He gets a pinky toe on the ball and it goes in. That's just the kind of goal scorer he is.
It's funny because you look at a guy like Sterling, like you see the physical attributes, it's the speed, he can do it in the air and open run a play. For Galindrez, he's just a natural scorer. All the right places, all the right times, a poacher of sorts, to be fair against the little pinky comment, but who cares? The ball ends up in the back, and then it's the same statistic on the scoreboard, right, Josh?
And he has the most shots on goal per 90 minutes in USL League One at 1.6. Another centering feed, it's right at Aviles. Great opportunity for Billhart. Billhart again, he just couldn't keep it. Adrian Billhart, one of those players who's been around the block with Tormenta, of course. Comeback player of the year this year after playing just 4 matches in 2021. A really bad knee injury that he has come back from, but he was a USL League 2 All-League player in 2019. I mentioned he scored in that Open Cup game for Tormenta 2 against Chattanooga. He said, this is what we play for. Guys said before the season, this is where they wanted to be. He wanted to say this is his first final, and he wants to leave it all out there. This will run all the way out of play. And for more on Adrian Billhart, let's bring in Marion Crowder.
Yeah, guys, Adrian suffered that ACL injury just 3 games into his first professional season. Felt like it was in great form and then was hit, obviously, with a major setback. He was actually on crutches for about 8 weeks because of a meniscus tear that went alongside that ACL injury. He didn't start ball work until 7 or 8 months post-surgery. But really, no coaches questioned his physical ability to come back. They felt like the mental side of the rehab was going to be the toughest part. Guys, he told me, a quote stuck with him, that throughout that process, it doesn't happen to you, but how you react to it. I asked him if he was ready really to move on from that stigma of being a comeback player, and he said, I'm thankful for the award, don't get me wrong. It allowed for me some reflection, and it allowed me to realize how much stronger I've come back mentally and physically, but now I'm ready to look towards much bigger goals than what is just being a comeback player of the year.
It's been a really great story. Thanks for that, Marion. 5 goals, 5 assists. It's a career high 5 goals in his 3rd season with Tormenta. And now they have a corner kick, just their 2nd of the game. Cabral, the one standing over this. This will be an outswinger. Plenty of big bodies in there, but they'll play this all the way towards the top of the area. Nemhard didn't quite come off as they had hoped. But it will be a throw-in deep in that corner. Win the ultimate World Cup viewing experience with the Hisense Playoff Sweepstakes, a grand prize of a Hisense 120-inch laser TV, and a $500 gift card. The Hisense Playoff Sweepstakes will run until November 13th at midnight Eastern. Scan the QR code for your chance to win. And what a great atmosphere it has been here tonight at Optum Sports Medicine Field at Tormenta Stadium here in Statesboro, Georgia. With Devin Kerr, Marion Crowder down on the field. I'm Josh Eastern. Our entire crew here with you, looking to crown a champion in USL League One, and it will be a new champion, as this is a free kick awarded Tormenta's way.
Easy as well. Don't talk your way into this. It's a foul. You make contact. Great job by Sterling as he comes back in. Interesting because his body's actually moving right. Navarro feels like he's going to pick the pocket a little bit when the ball comes off him and then redirects over the left shoulder. A little bit late to the party, though, and the verbal atrocities continue after the fact. Be real careful here, Navarro. No reason. Now can the favor be repaid of what was just before halftime? Great goal by Tejera. A ball from Carrera. Although Cabral and plenty of others, Bill Hart, and hit a set piece with the best of them as well, especially from this distance. Give you something to think about. Little trickery, get overlapping run, work around to the left-hand side, go direct from distance, or little touch stop hit. Dangler on the back post, mismatch.
This one clipped in. Phelps was waiting for it, never got to him, and now a chance to counter for Chattanooga. Villalobos, a bursting run. Felt some contact from behind, was right in front of the AR. Who signals for a goal kick. Just Akale coming there from behind. And a substitution coming here for Jimmy Weekly and Chattanooga. It is Riley Kraft coming onto the field. Josue Espana will make way. 24-year-old Kraft from Roseville, California. Spent some time in USL League One in 2019 and 2020 with the Richmond Kickers. Most recently, though, with the Des Moines Menace, where he scored 4 goals and had 5 assists in USL League 2 this year. And already getting himself stuck in just seconds after coming off the bench. Up by Otieno, who's trying to win a second straight USL League One final. Chattanooga makes something of this. Trying to dance in field, so Otieno said no. Otieno trying to just become the second player to win 2 straight USL League One titles. Cesar Murillo the other, 2019 with North Texas, 2020 with Greenville.
No options to play through, though. Look at every avenue closed down right now. Gotta find more movement quicker if you're Villalobos.
Here's Galindrez on coming, and just wide. Jose Carrera arriving late, but almost right on time for the go-ahead goal.
Gabriel Cabral was upset beyond belief that this little pivot didn't come quicker. I was asking for Villalobos. Look at the top of the 18. It's wide open. Carrera says, you're not going to go? Absolutely, I'll step through this. Smartly done right here. This is experience. He knows he's got to take some sting off of it. That's why he goes with the instep. You lead with your laces. The ball's more erratic. Instead, Carrera steps right through it and almost picks out that far post.
And now ahead of steam, Villalobos. Galindrez. Couldn't win that off of Dengler. Carrera went right through Ajay, no whistle. 20 minutes to go here in regulation. Will there be a winner? Will we need extra time? The cross comes in, it's cleared away. And here's Otieno. Wele Akale. Akale dancing on the ball. Navarro sweeps it away. A back pass, can Dengler win the race? Goes to ground. He had to get that one clean, and he did. Galindrez tracks it down. Juan Galindrez couldn't get by Dengler that time either. What a game this is turning out to be. Long switch of play, Ajay. Kingsford, Ajay blocked down. Coming in from behind, Otieno. And this will be a yellow card.
How the tackle's on the other end, though. You listen to the words about Ian Cameron and the construction of this team. Yes, everybody looks at Josh Phelps. But Jake Dengler, one of the unsung heroes of this team on that back line, just back-to-back moments where he gets stuck in. He wants to defend, and he said in the modern game, in this day and age, it's so difficult to find guys willing to put in the dirty work, get the tackles in. Nice pairing back there between Dengler and Phelps, and excellent defending just moments ago.
And now two subs coming. It will be Ryan Sierakowski, one of those players coming on, the other Chris Heckenberg, and that's the last we'll see of Kingsford Ajay and Toby Otieno tonight. Both of those players now on yellow cards. For Heckenberg, his first season with Tormenta after spending last year with Tormenta 2, signed back in March. For Sierakowski, he has plenty of experience in USL League One, spent last year with New England Revolution 2 and Forward Madison. His first season here with Tormenta. A yellow card was also given to DJ Benton during that last sequence. I believe that was for dissent. Now a free kick back to Tormenta. 17 minutes left in regulation.
Curious to see as to whether or not Jimmy Weekly will go back to his bench for Villalobos with the amount of transitions that have gone on here in the second half. A lot of miles starting to tick off on the odometer for Jimmy Villalobos in the midfield, and as the game has opened up, we're seeing him trail a lot. More chasing, laboring a little bit, and you do have help if you want to go to the bench. While Leffy right there, easy enough to step in next to Carrera if need be.
Gutierrez trying to burst through the middle. He was shut down.
It changes it too, Josh, because the attacking nature, you lose that quick little step up. You're less willing when you're tired to push yourself into a higher role defensively, and when you pick up the ball, to step forward even further. Some of the runs, not as fluent, not as quick. Of course, that is going to happen as the game goes on, but how long does Jimmy Weekly let it go on Not a problem just yet. But with the fresh legs on the inside of Chris Heckenberg, keep an eye.
Heckenberg moves it out wide. It's Sierakowski. Sierakowski trying to weave his way in. He was cut off. Mensingen. Only as far as Nemhard. For Billhart, it just ran through. Riley Kraft trying to stretch this and now cut it back. It's Billhart who steps in and intercepts. Just behind Sterling. Akale. Sterling. It's Billhart again. Isaiah Sterling trying to clip that forward. Lombardi stepped in and cut it out. Again, moving this out wide. Cross bouncing in and taken by Aviles. Long over the top, looking for Galindrez. And Dengler and Bush nearly coming together, and Dengler is down. Might need some assistance.
It's been hard to figure out the pattern of play for Galindrez because he's been working so deep to help out the defensive efforts. But as he comes in, almost forget about the runner. Jake Dendler and Josh Phelps tracking back on the tail end of it. Does pick up a little knock with his goalkeeper. And though it's not Jimmy Weekly, it is Ian Cameron going back to his bench with Billhart coming off. Thought he advanced himself nicely throughout the game. Maybe a little bit slow to start though.
Will also be Curtis Thorne coming off the field. So Owen Green and Jamil Roberts coming on. Green first year with Tormenta, spent last year with Tormenta 2 in his college soccer at FIU. As for Roberts, a national champion at Marshall, spent last year with Sporting Kansas City 2. So 4 subs have now been used by Tormenta. Same goes for Chattanooga. Both have used 2 windows. Remember, if this does go to extra time, both coach give it an extra sub and another window to utilize it. As the referee stopping play here. And Bush is down. Remember, he was down and slow to get back to his feet right after Chattanooga scored that equalizer before halftime. You can see how angry Bush is. Not a good sign for him remaining in this game. And there is Pablo Jara waiting in the wings. What a story this would be.
Well, the fact that he's up and moving that quick gives you an idea of the recognition on the sideline by Ian Cameron and his coaching staff, knowing immediately. I mean, the reaction by the goalkeeper for sure. There's the motion from the trainer, though. Got to take him off.
Remember, if they need a sub here, this would be the last window in regulation for Tormenta. And this will be the end of the night for TJ Bush. It is Pablo Jara coming onto the field. And this is a full circle moment for Pablo Jara. He was the man who started in goal from day number one, barely missed a game through the first 3 seasons. But this year, TJ Bush has unseated the veteran, but now it is Pablo Jara coming back into the picture. He will finish this game for Tormenta, and we'll send it down to the field for Marion Crowder for more on Pablo Jara.
When TJ Bush went down in that first half, we were thinking we might go ahead and see Pablo Jara. Obviously looks like that will be the case for the remainder of this game, but it was crazy, guys, to think about what some of the players were saying about him completely unprompted at training yesterday. Josh Dangler and club captain Gabriel Cabral both said that halfway through the season, when Jara lost his job to Bush, nothing ever changed. He's never been a guy that has changed. He's been a leader all the way through, and every single day he chooses to show up with the same energy and the same willingness to help, even guys that took his job. Dangler specifically said that that's the kind of mentality that represents everything this club is about and the kind of energy that he finds admirable. But guys, I will tell you, Josh Dangler made sure to tell me I would never tell him that, of course.
Well, another cool moment, thanks for that, Marion, was Pablo Jara getting the captain's armband from Gabriel Cabral. That's how much he means to this team. And we asked Josh Phelps this week about TJ Bush, the goalkeeping situation, and he said it's a big call, but if Ian sees something and believes in something, he won't be afraid to try it. Here's Sterling, plenty of space on the far side! The substitute's the one to make the impact! Jamil Roberts off the bench and into the history books. 2-1 to Tormenta.
You wondered, what role could this magician play? You talked about the national championship at Marshall. There's good reason why this is why he comes on late. The magic then, the magic now. How's the take first off? Watch the laces, leaning to your right, head down. As you come down across your body, he's still able to produce enough spin and power to bring this thing to the near post. It's the most difficult spot to put the ball in the field. And yet, if it was going to be anyone, of course, it's Jamil Roberts. En route to that national title. 3 games, the quarterfinal, the semifinal, the final. All 3 goals, all 3 game winners, all in the second half, one of which coming off the bench. History does, in fact, repeat itself.
And for Jamil Roberts, just his 3rd goal of the season. He hasn't scored since July, that 5-5 draw against Greenville Triumph. He scored 2 goals in 2 games. In 2 straight games, that is, back in July. And now he has scored maybe one of the biggest goals in Tormenta history, if it's the winner indeed. But Chattanooga will push forward. Menzigen trying his luck as this bounces wide. If you've seen Chattanooga over these past few years, you know late goals are so crucial to what they have been able to do. Can they find some of that magic again here tonight? Juan Galindrez, you mentioned it, Jimmy Weekly mentioned it to us. Juan Galindrez scores a lot of those late goals. There's something in this for Chattanooga, and it's Juan Galindrez. Might Pablo Jara have something to say? Remember yesterday in MLS Cup, John McCarthy, former Tampa Bay Rowdies goalkeeper, came off the bench, won the MVP in that game. Might Pablo Jara be called into action in these final few minutes? Another whistle. And free kick going Tormenta's way. And a yellow card also given to Jose Carrera.
Next level of difficulty. Just one more look at the greatness. Jamil Roberts from the right. Look at him square his hips up, Josh. This is just technique and form at another level. And to do it coming off the bench with the emotion in that type of moment. You can't put a price on the amount of times that you've stepped onto the training ground, the games that you've played in, for it to pay off in a moment like that. Touch of class and brilliance from Jamil Roberts on the go-ahead goal.
Here's Sterling to the end line, trying to cut this back. Here's Gutierrez. Gutierrez trying to clip it forward again, nothing doing. The referee stopping play here for a moment. There will be a substitution coming. And it will be Jorge Paez coming on, 26-year-old Venezuelan. Replacing Aaron Lombardi. 1 goal, 2 assists for Paez this year. His first season with the club. Mensingen trying to make something happen. He cuts it back. Cross put right towards Hara, and he squeezes it. You look at this half for Chattanooga, just 2 shots, none on target. You just know Chattanooga will push until the very end. That's the makeup of this club. It's the makeup of this league. Dramatics right up until the very end. Talk about just clinching the playoffs. Richmond had clinched with a couple of games to go, but none of the other teams had clinched their specific spots in the playoffs until the final day of the regular season. It was so close all year long. This is clipped forward. It's just behind the intended target. Run all the way to the end line where Kraft will have Hara pick it up. But the newcomers this year, Fuego, alongside Northern Colorado Hailstorm, brought some quality to this league. It's these two that have stayed in it until the final game of the season. And that's a handball.
Now, how's the fact you've only got nine points separating 7th and 1st? You go 11 back all the way to 8th. I mean, just a ridiculous percentage. And the overall depth and quality of the league that League One continues to put on the field, though. I'm sure the boys from Chattanooga right now could care less about any sort of statistic except the one that they're trailing in.
Villalobos for Carrera. Benton rolling it forward.
This just isn't their game. The last 10 minutes, everything is just try and hit one in and let's see what we can go get. The whole reason you're here is because of how good you are on the ball. You got to go challenge yourself. And as you move it side to side, if nothing's on, don't just pick your head up and stick one in the box. Not yet. Try and combine off of each other. There's plenty of space. Look how deep Tormenta's sitting.
Hayes throwing a wonder strike that's blocked down. Sterling battling with Navarro. But now here's Carrera as we get into stoppage time. It's 5 minutes added on. So there's something left in this for the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Gutierrez towards goal and gobbled up by Pablo Jara. Well, one word that Jimmy Weekly and even the players that we talked to, Jose Carrera, Rafa Menzingen, used in our chats this week, resiliency, just how resilient they've been all year long. And really feeling this was the next logical step to get into this game after losing in the semifinals last year. Ahead for Sterling. He'll take it into the corner. Is there one more, though, resilient moment left for Chattanooga?
Let's just keep it down here. Stick this thing in the corner and then work off of each other. Come get it. That's a mistake on the offside run. They've been very clean. I'll give them that much. Tormenta have been very clean here in the second half. And as much as Chattanooga wanted the ball and continued to challenge, whether it was from the central spots where at times they certainly were caught out. They got direct up over the top, started to chase a little bit more. They've settled down as the half has gone on, and how appropriate coming off the bench. Everything that Ian Cameron says, not 11. We're much deeper than that. There's so much pride within this group. It's fun. I want to go to work. I want to go to training. The guys don't feel like anybody has an argument above the other. They're willing to work for each other. That's certainly been the case tonight, as it has been all season. What a journey it's been. Just a couple of minutes. Easy. Easy.
It was Navarro and Sterling that were getting tangled up, and the referee having to step in, and a lot to figure out here. That was right in front of the AR on the far side as well. Almost Osmanovic will have to sort things out here in stoppage time. This has been a physical game, a hard-fought game right from the get-go.
Well, it's a foul on Navarro, there's no doubt about that. The issue that starts to step in is after the initial coming of minds. Sterling feels hard done because he wants Navarro to move out of the way. And he feels like he doesn't get it quick enough. Given the persistent infringement, the way that the game has gone, and the challenge, including everything that ensued afterwards, I would be shocked if you don't see a card for each in this situation, number one. But of course, the way that the game is called, why would you card? I mean, dear Lord, come on. But go back to it. There's one, drag down 100%. It's the arm, it's the foot, and then he stands up over him. Sterling doesn't like it. I don't blame him. The retaliation on the boot is very difficult. You know, he wants to argue that he gets kicked. As you stand up, you put yourself in that situation. This is really simple. Card one, card the other. Be consistent here, be smart. And very lucky it didn't progress any further than what you just saw.
Well, that was about 90 seconds of delay here in extra time. So you wonder if that's going to be added on to the minimum of 5 minutes. more push here for the Red Wolves. Paez into the corner. Kraft, can he get there? He can, but can't keep it in play. Ian Cameron, he has been at Tormenta since 2019. We talked about his rise through the coaching ranks, just like the players in this club, going from the second team up to the first. Man from Glasgow was named head coach in 2020 after John Milarese stepped aside. There is the final whistle. Tormenta has taken this league by storm. South Georgia Tormenta, USL League One champions. You can see what it means to these players, to this club, to this town. The smallest market in North American soccer has just won USL League One. Just the fourth game in this venue. And now we send it down to the field, and Marion Crowder is standing by with Jamil Roberts.
Jamil, in May of last year, you stamped your name in the Marshall men's record books by scoring the game-winning goal to help them win their first ever national championship. Tonight, you scored the game-winning goal to give South Georgia Tormenta their first ever League One title. What are you feeling right now?
I can't really put it into words, to be honest. Like, I remember I spoke to my mum before the game, and I said, you know, sometimes in these games it's better to come off the bench. It was such a tight, cagey affair. Both teams were going at it. And I know that I only need one moment to score. And you know, I've played in big games, but this is the biggest and the best moment of my career so far. It's just unbelievable.
Jamil, I can tell that this visibly means so much to you, to this community. You talk about the loss, the tragic loss of Carter Payne last July, this summer. I know this is a team that has rallied around so much tragedy. What does this mean for the Statesboro community?
I mean, it means everything. You know, I said before the game, I mean, just listen. Just listen to it. I mean, from where we were at the beginning of the year to what I'm seeing now, and like, you know, it's been such a tough year for everyone at the club, and you know, to bring like the tiniest bit of joy to those people, it just means the world to us. And I mean, look at like, there's so many smiling faces. It was an amazing game, and you know, hats off to Chattanooga. You know, they've done amazing to get here, just like we have, and they're a great team and with a great coach. And you know, just the little margins went our way tonight, and listen, I couldn't be happier.
Jamil Roberts, you are a League One champion. Congratulations, go celebrate.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Marion. Awesome to see what it means to Jamil Roberts and to South Georgia Tormenta in Statesboro, Georgia. And yes, put that star above the crest. Both the Ibis can celebrate tonight, Devin. What scenes here at Tormenta Stadium. We will send it to break. On the other side, we will have the trophy presentation from Statesboro. South Georgia Tormenta, 2-1 winners over Chattanooga. They are USL League One champions in 2022.
Yep. Welcome back to Statesboro, Georgia. I am here with the MVP of the 2022 USL League One final, Keziah Sterling. Keziah, you guys have scored game-winning goals, quarterfinal, semifinal, final, all in the second half. What does it say about your team's ability to finish a season like this, especially amidst so much adversity, like you're wearing Carter Payne's jersey right now?
It just shows how resilient we are, the courage we have. You know, it's easy when you go behind. It's so hard to keep going. But after time this season, we've shown that we can do that throughout the season, and when it matters the most at times like this.
This is the time it matters the most. You are a USL League One champion. Go celebrate. Congratulations. Josh, Devin, back to you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Marion. Thanks, Keziah, again for his time, and what a performance it was. And for Keziah Sterling, what a journey it's been through the Tottenham Academy. Made his debut in the Champions League, and now a USL League One final MVP. And you can see great scenes as let's look back at these 90 minutes. USL League One final here in 2022. We'll start in the 35th minute. And this was the moment that changed the game, the penalty that led to Sterling's first goal.
Had to keep an eye on him, right? You know, the most amazing man when it comes to the front line and attacking within this game. Of course he scores. It is from the spot, but it's still going to add up on the stat sheet. And then as you went to work the other way, the game started to open itself up. That certainly favored Chattanooga Red Wolves because of how much space they had to play with. A little bit odd, though, that it comes from a dead ball situation. The whole talking point coming in was the number 9 spot. What was Jimmy Weekley going to do? He goes with Tahara. He gets it right, and so do they, and it's 1-1. Now let's go back the other direction as it continues to watch the back post run. Great little 1-2 coming back over the shoulder, and then unselfish. I love this here from Sterling because we've seen him let this fly so many times before. Instead, trust the rotation, trust the space, and then the quality from Jamil Roberts to finish it off.
And now going through a medal ceremony, there you can see USL President Jake Edwards with the handshakes, the medals going on as well. Awesome scenes here for South Georgia Tormenta FC. We talked about just what this club means to this town in such a small market, everything that's gone into it from the very beginning. I'll repeat the quote from co-owner and president Darren Van Tassel. Not sure our dreams went so far that we would host a final inside of 7 years, being the smallest market in North America playing pro soccer. They didn't just host a final, they won a final.
Well, I would say to you on the other side of that, you talked about Sterling, and we saw Bill Hart behind the scenes, Jamil Roberts. They were emotional, right? Tears of joy being shed for the journey that they've been on. But for a lot of these guys, it is a rebirth because players like Bill Hart and Sterling and Roberts, pedigree, right? It's the Tottenham program, it's Union Berlin, it's Plymouth Argyle. And when that journey doesn't continue on the professional side, they look for another avenue. Some of them went the college route. Some of them tried to go pro somewhere else, but it all ended up here for South Georgia Tormenta. So that rebirth has provided greatness for such a small town, but a massive implication on this community and this league, and a brilliant performance, well-deserved by South Georgia Tormenta.
And you see the jersey that some of the players are wearing, those warm-up kits, and as well as what Keziah Sterling was wearing during that interview of David Carter Payne, who passed away in an accident in July, to go from such a low moment in that to now what they get to do here and honoring him in this moment. And Pablo Jara, who was not supposed to play tonight, the injury to TJ Bush pushes him into the lineup for the final minutes. He gets the captain's armband. He will get the USL League One trophy from Jake Edwards. It's a 4th different champion in 4 years of USL League One. South Georgia Tormenta FC, USL League One champions.
No 1, no 2, no problem. 3v4, and it lived up to the hype. These teams were the best coming into it. All the statistics pointed to a great one. Contrasting styles. It was wide open. It was slowed down. We saw set pieces. We saw beautiful finishes. And we see another champion in USL League One. Hats off to the Red Wolves for a well-played game. It will fall just short, but it was too much for Ian Cameron and his band of merry men as the number 3 takes down the title.
Well, the W League team won a title earlier this year. The USL League One team wins a title. It's a double for Tormenta. in the W League and in League One. Well, that'll do it for our coverage tonight and for the 4th season of USL League One. For our entire crew and broadcast partner Devin Kerr, I'm Josh Eastern saying so long from Statesboro, Georgia, where the party will go well into the night. South Georgia Tormenta, USL League One champions in 2022. Good night.